Well, we finally got here without bumping into another plane or running out of gas, didn't we, huh?
Yeah. You're the best, Pop.
The best. For a son, his father should be the greatest. The best.
You okay?
Yeah, I got something in my eye. Israel's a dusty country.
Yeah. Dusty.
She says, where's your friend? My back's killing me.
Yeah, right, Pop? She said she'd pick us up here. Wait till you see her. You're gonna give her 4 stars.
Just 4? Even Uber will let you get 5.
All right, we'll see.
Hey, Ryan, it's me, Ziva. Sorry I couldn't pick you up at the airport, but I was on reserve duty. You look even hotter than you do on Skype.
What about me? Do I look hotter?
Pop, meet Ziva. She's originally from Long Island. She made all the arrangements for our trip.
Oh, wonderful. Hello, Ziva. I usually like to give thanks by a nice big hug, but I'll have to owe it to you, as you can see.
I look forward to receiving it. God, it's such an honor to meet you, Mr. Dorfman.
Wow.
Ryan's told me so many great things about you.
See, I've got him well trained. Ziva, if you could stop at a nearest Starbucks, I am in desperate need of a nice coffee.
Oh, Starbucks. I'm so sorry, Mr. Dorfman, but I'm afraid that you've come to the one place on Earth without a Starbucks.
All right.
Can I mention that, Pop?
If I'm a little grumpier than usual, you'll know why.
This is your first trip to Israel, Mr. Dorfman?
No. I was here a long time ago, but it had a different name then. It's called a British Mandate for Palestine.
I didn't know that, Pop.
A lot of things you didn't know.
I knew you were born in Poland, grew up in this small village called a shtetl where everybody was very poor.
And everybody wanted to go to America. Did you know that?
No. Well, I'm sure glad you made it there, Pop, or I wouldn't have been born.
And I'd be home all alone tonight.
3's a crowd, you know. I'll get an Uber.
You sound like a real American, Mr. Dorfman. Did you learn English in school?
School? Who had time? I had to go to work the minute I got off the boat in New York. But I did listen to all the radio soap operas. And not only did I learn English, but I learned who was doing what to whom. Oh, Ziva, by the way, if we could drive by Rothschild Street, I want to take a look at those Bauhaus buildings they have there. That would quench your thirst more vital to me than any iced liquid.
Mr. Dorfman, I love you.
When I saw the Bauhaus style for the first time, I wanted to be an architect and put up buildings like those.
I never knew you were creative, Pop.
I wasn't, but I wanted to be.
Usually visitors want me to take them straight from the plane to Jerusalem to pray at the wall, but wanting to look at architecture to begin with is definitely a first.
It's more than just architecture, Sergeant.
Recognize my rank.
I was a private in the Army here, and I hated sergeants. But in your case, Ziva, I'll make an exception.
Pop, you were here a long time ago in the Army? What other surprises have you got up your sleeve?
If I tell you, they won't be surprises. You know, the rise of Adolf Hitler caused the Jewish architects who were part of the Bauhaus movement to seek exile here. And those buildings were a sign of what was to come. And the writing was on the wall, but the whole world turned a blind eye to Mr. Hitler. 50 million people of all kinds ended up dead. Excuse the history lesson, but it's an old man's prerogative to talk about the past. It's also his prerogative to pass wind if the need arises. Ziva, is this a wild goose chase you've got me on?
Oh, I found 3 women who could be possibles.
You've come all this way from 3 possibles, not even 1 probable?
It's a process, Pop. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, getting old's a process, too, and you never get used to it. Ziva, where is this hotel? Up in Syria?
It's just up ahead, Mr. Dorfman.
That's what Moses said to the Israelites before taking them 40 years to get to the Promised Land. It's up ahead, it's up ahead. This is it? This is a hotel?
It's a famous youth village where Arab and Jewish children live together in peaceful coexistence. But in order to balance their books, they take in paying guests.
That's nice.
Want you to meet someone, Mr. Dorfman?
Watch your head.
Mrs. Bergman, the one and only Mr. Isaac Dorfman from America.
Welcome, the one and only Mr. Isaac Dorfman from America. Ziva's told me all about you.
Oh, well, it's too bad. I was hoping to make a fresh start here. It's indeed my pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mrs. Bergman.
I hope our children will not be too noisy for you.
No. I love children being children. Just a shame they have to grow up.
I'm Ryan Dorfman, his son, and shamefully, I grew up.
Your mother? She wasn't able to come with you?
No, I'm afraid she passed away a month ago.
For your loss. I'm truly sorry.
We thank you for your sympathy, Mrs. Bergman, and taking strangers in from the cold.
This country is full of strangers who came in from the cold.
Which explains our attraction for things that are hot.
So, you should know that this van, which was a gift to us from our supporters in America, will be completely at your disposal, Mr. Dorfman.
That's very kind of you, Mrs. Bergman.
And I've just been doing my spring cleaning, and if you would like, I'm even available to drive you.
Who could say no to such a generous offer?
And, just to put you at ease, my insurance is fully up to date. Quickly, to the shelter.
Is it a missile attack?
Now I know what country I'm in. Now I feel at home.
Watch your step, Pop.
Yeah.
No one seems scared or anything.
Because it's only a drill.
Our cell phones beep with an alert when it's the real thing.
Ah.
After the missiles are fired from our friends across the border, we have only 30 seconds to find shelter.
Friends should at least give you a minute.
There's the all clear.
Yep.
Means we're free to go.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna take you around. Bye.
May I show you around our village, Mr. Dorfman?
Please, and you should call me Isaac. May I call you by your first name?
Anat.
Anat. You know, there's an ancient Hebrew legend about a goddess of war named Anat, who was a virgin.
We've only just met, and already you know my secret. Come, let me give you an introduction to what we're all about. It is in this room, among our youngest children, that the core of our philosophy is on display. If Arabs and Jews can start talking to each other at a tender age, it could continue indefinitely.
That's allowed?
Who knows? I didn't ask. But it definitely gives the children a sense of belonging. As you can see, our village has everything it needs. A dining hall, a gymnasium, a theater. I can't forget, it has a fully functioning synagogue and a mosque that would make Muhammad proud.
You should be proud of what you've accomplished here, Mrs. Bergman.
Believe me, it wasn't built in a day.
So you and Rome have something in common, huh?
So Ziva didn't tell me how long you'd be staying in Israel.
Well, I'm sure not more than a few days. I mean, wild goose chases end quickly.
So you didn't want to come.
My son found Ziva on the internet, and they arranged everything before I could say no.
You were in Auschwitz, Mr. Dorfman.
Yes, I was there.
They say the Almighty died there.
I didn't see him. But for the religious, he was very much alive. They were going to the gas. They were asking him to forgive their sins and those who had sinned against them.
Have you forgiven those who sinned against you?
Maybe in the next life. So, Mrs. Bergman, without getting too personal, would I be right in thinking you weren't born here?
I was one of those strangers who came in from the cold.
Oh.
After the war, I was in a displaced persons camp, waiting to come here. And with time on my hands, I took a course in English for those going to America.
Seemed to have passed with flying colors.
Your lost love you're searching for. She has a name?
Hannah Cohen.
Do you have a picture of her?
No, I don't, but she no longer looked like her picture.
So it's been a long time since you saw her last.
A lifetime.
Lifetime is indeed a long time.
Unfortunately, the face that once made my heart skip a beat is completely faded from my memory.
Let's hope that Ziva will be able to make it skip a beat again. She's quite certain that there is a chance that one of the women she's found will be your Hannah.
And there's a chance that someday a kosher cow will jump over the moon.
Tel Aviv is the city that never sleeps. New York might protest, but you stay here for a few nights and you'll see for yourself who sleeps less. But unfortunately, we're leaving tomorrow morning.
Wait a second. None of your possibles live here?
I'm afraid not.
Then I'm right about this being a wild goose chase, huh?
There's no way to know that for sure, Mr. Dorfman, until you meet all the women. With only a maiden name to go on, we're lucky that we got the 3 Hannah Cohens that we did.
Look, don't misunderstand, Ziva. I mean, I appreciate all you've done, but I just don't know how I ever let my son talk me into this, that's all.
No one tells you nothing, Pop. All right? I know you're hoping to find her. It's okay to admit it.
Oh, I was just catching up on the latest gossip from the owner. One of my naughty boys, I must admit.
But you love them dearly.
I love them all dearly.
Of course.
And are you a naughty boy that all the girls love dearly?
Not all.
They say the sea air is good enough to bottle. Shall we check it out? The port was over there.
Yes, there was a port there years ago.
Yeah, and this is where we docked our boat. Welcome to the land of milk and honey, they said. They handed us a rifle.
Hey, who's hungry, huh? Pop, you want to grab a bite?
No. You and Ziva go ahead. Mrs. Bergman and I will be just fine.
Is it safe to leave you two alone?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say it is.
See you later.
I was never that young.
When you were that young, you wanted to be old.
Not this old.
Mrs. Bergman, you're a spring chicken.
No, not spring, not summer, not fall, maybe early winter.
An early winter chicken, huh?
I never drive in Tel Aviv. The drivers are daredevils.
So tell me, you think I could get lucky tomorrow?
But not. People find each other every day.
After so many years and a whole other life?
She had a name, Ryan's mother.
Yeah, her name was Patricia Ann. Patricia Ann Fitzgerald.
I hope she didn't suffer.
Yeah, we all suffered. It was a long illness.
I'm so sorry to hear that. It's Ryan and Ziva. They're at a kosher Indian restaurant. Not far from here. They'd like us to join them.
I'm sure that the curried matzo ball soup's a winner, but no. I think we should respect their privacy. They're just getting to know each other.
You noticed?
A one-eyed man with a bad eye would notice.
Rockets have been fired into the south. Fortunately, there were no casualties, just nightmares for all the children on both sides.
It's good to see that your heart is indifferent to borders, Mrs. Bergman.
But never to pain, no matter what side of a fence, a wall, a line on a map, it's to be found.
Oh, so you're one of those, huh?
I am one of those who believes that respect for the others who live among us is the only way we can respect ourselves.
I didn't know I was walking into a minefield. Usually there's a warning sign in Hebrew, Arabic, and English.
I thought when you saw me on my soapbox, you would recognize an old peacenik if you saw one.
A man's old peacenik could be recognized. Things were a lot simpler when I was here last. Our only concern then was whether our newly founded country would still exist by the end of the day. Were you in the Army, Mrs. Bergman?
If you could put one foot in front of the other, you were in the Army.
Well, tell me you were not a sergeant.
Not a sergeant, just a private.
I knew when we met we had something in common. You know, I don't know what I expected to find when I returned here, but I'll tell you the truth, Mrs. Bergman, I'm not disappointed.
I know you'll be just fine here as long as you remember that even our problems have problems.
Yeah, but hoping is allowed.
We never stop hoping, Mr. Dorfman. When I came here, there was dancing in the streets. I saw it with my own eyes. People, arm in arm, dancing together. And I never stop hoping that I am going to see that again one day.
You know, I like her, Ziva. What you see is what you get.
I had a good feeling about her from the first time we were on Skype. As soon as she said hello.
People reveal themselves the minute they open their mouth. I mean, if someone's a putz, the mouth doesn't even have to open. So, you want me to admit what I'm hoping for?
It won't jinx it if you do, Pop.
I should tempt fate. You know, I'm a lucky guy, but I'm not that lucky.
Remember the last time we shared a room?
Well, it was a tent. We were in sleeping bags. It was the only camping trip I ever took you on. Does that make me a bad father?
Stop fishing for compliments and go to sleep.
You know, what if you're right? And Hannah's alive.
I'll get you the honeymoon suite at the Hilton.
Well, it better come with a set of instructions.
Don't worry about it. It's like riding a bicycle. You never forget how to do it.
Yeah, but what if there are no sparks? You know, things change over the years.
Let's just find her first. Worry about sparks later.
Wojciech, how can I ever repay you for being so So good to your father.
You gave me a good life, Pop. It's my turn to repay you.
You know how much I love you?
Higher than the birds fly.
Even higher. How kind of you to drive us, Mrs. Bergman. I mean, are you sure you're up for such an exhausting trip?
Who can be sure of anything? I'm never sure when I go to sleep at night that I'm going to wake up in the morning. But here I am. What a day. Did one ever start with such a purpose?
Well, I remember my first day of school. My mother took me, and when she left, I cried. When the teacher made me stand in the corner until I stopped.
As the day progresses, if you feel a need to shed a few tears, you will not have to stand in the corner.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bergman. That's very reassuring. So, Ziva, you still think I could get lucky today?
I do, Mr. Dorfman. At this moment, I kind of think I'm more nervous than you.
What I wouldn't give for a delicious iced coffee of a famous name brand.
Thanks, Pop, for rubbing it in. How long to Jerusalem?
Not long. When we get close, you'll feel it in your heart. Israel's small. It's about the size of New Jersey.
There was more synagogues. Mr. Dorfman, you've been on this road before.
Only many of us squeezed onto a truck. We had the rifles they'd given us at the port.
Were you scared, Pop?
Nothing left to scare me. I mean, I was just thinking of Hannah. If I was still alive after the battle, would I ever find her?
You knew she was alive?
No, I knew nothing. I just had hope. You know, we trained for no more than an hour down there in Tel Aviv, and then they brought us out here. Jordanian Legion was entrenched somewhere up on that hill, but there was once a British police station. It commanded the road to Jerusalem, which was under siege, and we had to capture it, but we couldn't. The boys who survived the camps came to this distant land, started a new life. That's where they met their end. And no, there was no milk and honey here that day.
And for sure, no Starbucks.
Is that supposed to be a joke? Because
It's meant to be anything you'd like it to be. No disrespect to your comrades, Mr. Dorfman, but sometimes it's better to laugh than to cry.
No disrespect to you, Mrs. Bergman, but it might even be better if what you laughed at was actually funny.
Pop the warrior.
Coming up, Mr. Dorfman, the Hamas capital of Israel, a must-stop before Jerusalem.
Mr. Dorfman, has anyone ever thanked you for giving us a country?
Oh, come on, I was one of many.
Still, we thank you.
And the other side? Where's their country?
Well, they were offered one, but they turned it down.
Have you never in your life changed your mind, Mr. Dorfman?
Jerusalem, the home of the world's 3 great religions. It has been destroyed, besieged, captured, and recaptured again, and yet it still survives.
I can't believe we're actually here, where Jesus walked.
Today, he'd probably take over.
Christ has a relevance to you.
My mother was a Catholic, and that's how I was raised, but I'm half Jewish.
Which half?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find out soon enough.
Nice.
Oh, Mr. Dorfman, there's the Western Wall. It's called the Wailing Wall to many people because when the religious pray, that's how it sounds. Mr. Dorfman, after your meeting, if you want, I could take you there.
I'm afraid this is not my day for whaling, Ziva.
I'm sure it'll still be standing there tomorrow.
But my problem is not with the wall, Mrs. Bergman. It's what you're supposed to do when you're in front of it.
There's been a knifing at the Damascus Gate in the old city.
The victim is on his way to the hospital and his assailant is in custody. You'll notice I'm not identifying anybody in order to be politically correct.
I think we should cancel our meeting. This is no longer a suitable day to search for love.
On the contrary, Mr. Dorfman, in the midst of all this hate, you couldn't have picked a better day to search for love.
What am I doing? This is crazy. I mean, what am I hoping for?
Well, we all hope for, Pop. to love someone and be loved back. And you're never too old for that.
Thank God.
Go already, Mr. Dorfman. The suspense is killing us.
I welcome you to my home, Isaac.
Are you my Hannah Cohen?
I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Do you remember a boyfriend or a special one?
I can only remember that after we got to the camp, everyone was waved to the showers, except for me. I was so upset I wanted a shower after that long journey. Who knew that what came out of the shower head was not water? I was spared because of my face. I was beautiful then. I was sent to a place for beautiful faces. They called it the House of Dolls, where we were made to do shameful things.
You know, when Hannah and I said goodbye, we picked a password so that if we should meet many years later, we'd know it was us. It was a quote from Shakespeare.
To thine own self be true.
But soft what light through yonder window breaks.
Romeo and Juliet, of course. You are a true romantic, Isaac. But soft what light from yonder window breaks.
It is the east, and Juliet is the sun.
Your Hannah waits to hear you say those words.
Thank you.
Sorry your heart didn't skip a beat, Mr. Dorfman.
Yeah, but it was greatly touched to meet such a remarkable woman. Ziva, so who do we have next?
Well, it's your choice. One's in the Galilee and the other's in a lot, both of whom I'm sure you'll find remarkable.
Ooh.
Houston, we have a problem.
Huh?
So please, just give me a minute.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Dorfman. Mrs. Bergman used to repair trucks in the Army.
Well, then I won't worry, even if I should look worried.
What an unbelievable feeling. Being here in the Holy City. It's just like I want to shout for joy or something.
So who's stopping you?
Hallelujah! Praise the Lord!
My son.
Even a Mercedes can have its problems. Our water pump needs to be replaced. So, Ziva, why don't you take them somewhere while I order a new one? And Mr. Dorfman, are you okay?
Couldn't be better. I mean, traveling around with your own mechanic, like being born a Rothschild.
If the truth be known, a Rothschild would probably rather have been born a Dorfman.
Okay.
I could give you guys a nice walking tour of Jerusalem.
I already had a nice walking tour, but they were shooting at us then.
Give it some time, Mr. Dorfman. The day is still young.
Don't you love it, Bob? Everyone here's a comedian.
Well, you're in love, boy, chick. The whole world's funny.
Since we're close by, we should walk over to Yad Vashem. See when the world wasn't so funny.
Well, in a world-famous Holocaust museum, you might learn something. Like Christians who spoke out in defense of the Jews were also murdered.
I knew that, Bob.
You might find out a few things you didn't know about. And every one of them is more terrible than the other.
So, you had a good visit.
Not so good.
Next time, you should watch where you walk.
You want I should laugh?
Only if you have a need.
I don't.
Our humor is an acquired taste. You need only to give it more time.
Time, unfortunately, Mrs. Bergman, is not mine to give.
Yeah, well, as long as we still have you, Mr. Dorfman, I need to know which is next. The Galilee or a lot?
Wow. Over 1.5 million for children. Pop, I wish you would have somehow told me how horrendous it really was.
You think you know how horrendous it was by looking at a replica of a railway boxcar which transported people to their death? From that, you think you know what it was like? If I tell you what these eyes saw in a single hour of a single day, you'd never forgive me for putting such unimaginable images into your head. They could never, ever be erased.
What we saw was bad enough, Pop. The names on those plaques throughout the garden. What were they?
Those were the names of people who saved a Jewish life. Righteous Gentiles.
There should have been one for your mother. She saved a Jewish life. Mine. You know, after I got to America, I came down with TB. I was in a hospital and I was dying. When all the doctors said it was hopeless, she wouldn't give up on me. She loved me. We made a life together.
And you stayed with her to the very end? Even though, I know, you never really loved her.
What are you talking about? Of course I loved her.
No, but you were never in love with her, Pop. I knew that.
Other children grew up to be smarter than us, huh?
We're coming up on a junction, Mr. Dorfman. I need to know which way to turn, north or south. The Galilee or Eilat?
Well, in the Galilee, the women wear their skirts down to their ankles, and in Eilat, there were pretty girls walking around with teeny-weeny bikinis. That's a choice.
Eilat is well known for its pretty little girls in bikinis, but it's also well known for great white sharks that swim around in an underwater observatory. Either one can eat you up alive.
Now, that was funny, Mrs. Bergman.
See, Mr. Dorfman, you shouldn't give up on us.
Many have called our settlements in the West Bank illegal, but they still have some surprises to offer.
Eilat is the furthest point south in Israel. It is sandwiched on the Red Sea between Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. It is known for its sunny days and balmy nights, and that's why it is numero uno for honeymoon couples. Not that I'm dropping a hint or anything.
It reminds me of spring break in Florida.
Oh, you're at a wild youth?
When we get to know each other better, we can compare notes.
Oh, you got me all wrong, mister. I'm a nice Jewish girl who always did my homework.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm a good Catholic boy who sang in the choir.
Maybe it's time for a change.
You sure you don't want us along for moral support, Pop?
No, go have some fun. Get to know each other, but not too much fun.
Keeping my fingers crossed for you, Mr. Dorfman.
I got a good feeling about this one.
He's got a good feeling about everything.
That's why you love him so much.
He's my son. I don't need a reason.
Lucky boy. Since we're early for your appointment, there's something I want you to see. Across there is the city of Aqaba in Jordan, made famous by Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, I saw the movie. The camel charge to take Aqaba was most memorable.
The city is now famous for its excellent fish restaurants.
We should go there for dinner then.
We do have a peace treaty with Jordan, so we are permitted to cross the border, but we fear to do so.
Fear of what? The unknown?
Of the people who live there.
I see. So tasty grilled fish from the Red Sea can never complete their journey into an Israeli stomach.
Maybe they can complete their journey by the next generation.
You know, speaking of that generation, I worry about my son, Ryan. It seems the most important goal in his life is to try to reunite me with Hannah.
How does he even know about her?
We were on a camping trip, and after a few too many beers, I totally spilled the beans about my feelings for Hannah. He never mentioned it again, so I thought he forgot.
But you never forgot about her.
No, not for a day. You never forget about first love. At least that's what they say.
And did you, as they say, go all the way?
All the way. No, just kisses. But they were sweet, so sweet. I can still remember the feeling when our lips touched.
The memory of those kisses, is that how you were able to survive?
I think there are some things that best remain in the dark, Mrs. Bergman. What if it's her? What do I say?
Believe me, words will not be necessary. I only wish that your heart can skip a beat.
At my age, half a beat might be safer.
My family came from Poland to Paris in the hopes of getting a visa to America or wherever else. But all the doors were slammed shut. After the defeat of France, they rounded up all the foreign Jews and we ended up in Drancy, a transit camp near Paris. But I do remember a boyfriend who I said goodbye to.
And what did he say?
I'll try to remember, but my memory goes in and out.
Can you remember Drancy? Thousands just waiting for their names to appear on a list to see who'd be sent that day to a place so horrific that even its name sounded as if it sprung from the depths of hell itself.
You want I should go back there? To my father and mother and 2 brothers and a sister who I never saw again?
No, just try to remember a young boy who was everything to you. The sun, the moon, the stars. Can you just see him just running into your arms and just showering you with the sweetest of kisses?
I remember the sweetness of his kisses. And I remember him whispering something as he had to board the train with his family.
What did he whisper, Hannah? What did he say?
He said, "Meet me on the bridge." And I said, "Which bridge?" And he said, "The one in Brooklyn." Oh.
And did you meet up again?
Yes, but not in the United States. We met in Austria at a displaced persons camp. And he brought me here, and we made a life together. Promise me, Isaac, that you will never give up hope. You will find your Hannah.
So what went on back there?
We had a roll in the hay.
You wish.
I wish I wished. It's been a long time for me. Patricia Ann was sick, and besides, it wasn't even that kind of relationship. We were more like best friends.
When Ryan was conceived, what kind of friends were you then?
Well, you have to understand, Mrs. Bergman, that after the liberation, survivors wanted to forget about the past and look to the future. And what better way than to bring a new generation into the world? That's what the birth of my son meant to me. Mm-hmm. But I must admit, there were times when I was not a survivor, but just a man with a man's needs, and I took my carnal pleasures with pleasure.
Is it my turn to confess now? Is that the latest fad in America? He must have searched everywhere after the war for Hannah.
Oh, yes. There was a documentation center in Paris where her name and her family members, they were listed on a transport to Auschwitz, and they were gassed on arrival.
I don't understand. If she was confirmed dead, why the search now?
Because I have a son who's putting all his hopes in the chance that somehow or other she got on the train made a stop, she managed to get off. To find out if he's right, he quit the law firm he was with and gave up a bundle.
There must be more to it than that.
Oh, maybe. Maybe he's the one searching for something. I don't know.
I know this isn't easy for you.
So what's easy? I mean, being 6 foot under is easy, but not so much fun.
So, Mr. Dorfman, are you ready to meet the last Hannah on our list?
You mean in the Galilee where Jesus walked on water and did something with the fishes?
The miracle of the 5,000. 5 loaves and 2 fish fed 5,000 people.
Oh.
See, Pop, Sunday school wasn't wasted on me.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for letting me be the person I am.
Who should I let you be? The person you're not?
Mr. Dorfman, you are definitely an original.
An original what?
There is no what. An original means the only one. You can't take a compliment, Mr. Dorfman.
Yeah, I can take a compliment. As a matter of fact, I could even say thank you. But Ziva, I want you to check out the remaining woman on the list, huh? Because I'm sure she's remarkable as the others, but I'd rather try to walk in water myself than go on another wild goose chase.
Okay, Mr. Dorfman. I will call her in the morning, I promise. And you, Mr. Good Looking, I was thinking, yes, you. There's this new nightclub that opened up right nearby. Do you want to like go dance and get our bodies better acquainted?
Would you two like to come along?
We don't want to cramp your style. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, Mr. Dorfman. You might learn something new.
I'm afraid I know too much already.
I will see you later then.
Okay. They say the Yalat night air is quite refreshing this time of year.
Good enough to bottle?
Let's find out. So tell me, how did we get started?
With what?
Taking care of children.
You haven't had enough of the Holocaust today.
I'll pretend it's tomorrow. It's okay.
During the war, I was separated from my parents. I was taken in by a family in a French village. My attic window looked across to a railway station, and I could watch them bring in the Jews from the surrounding area and pack them into boxcars for shipment to Auschwitz. The worst was the 44 children the Gestapo had seized from their orphanage. They were all alone. They were sobbing uncontrollably for their mothers. I can't even imagine what they were going through. All alone in a crowded boxcar, traveling across Europe and arriving at their destination at night, blinded by searchlights, terrified by barking dogs, and the SS guards shouting commands to them in an unfamiliar language while they were taking them to a place where their cries of "Mutter, Mutter" couldn't even be heard over the screams of the gas chamber's other victims. Opening up my heart to children in need was how I was able to contain my anger.
You're very lucky to find something that helped. So with the children, found a home with you. You know, children feel things so deeply. When Hannah and I met, we thought ourselves so grown up, but no, we were in fact children ourselves. Yet we knew that we were inscribed in the book of life to spend the rest of our days together.
If you really believe that, then it's true.
But you don't.
Mr. Dorfman, you are a true romantic.
And a fool, huh?
No, certainly not a fool, just a romantic.
Well, how about a foolish romantic? Can we settle on that?
I know that you're going to find your Hannah. I'm certain of it. True love cannot be denied.
Well, who's the foolish romantic now?
What was she like?
She was like the morning sun that made the day begin.
Well, then may it begin again tomorrow in the Galilee. Coming up, Mr. Dorfman, a Bedouin village that still clings to its past, reminding us that others also have a valid claim to their birthright in this holy land.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Dorfman. I just got off with Our Lady in Galilee, and she checks off all the boxes. Remembers having a young boyfriend, but she doesn't remember his name.
Okay, Pop.
You're asking me if it's okay. We're already halfway there. Tell me, kids, how did things work out last night in the getting acquainted department?
I'm madly in love with your son.
Just like that?
Not just like that. We were on Skype together for months, and we talked about everything, including the root cause of why we're both still single. We really got to know everything there was to know about each other, except who would be the first to fall asleep when we made love. And you, Mr. Dorfman, was it love at first sight with Hannah?
The moment I met her, I knew. Both our families had come from Poland to Paris to try to escape Hitler, and that's where we met, fell in love. I think this could have a good outcome.
I'm your lawyer, Pop, and there's no verdict yet, okay?
Okay, but if things don't work out in the Galilee, I'm on a plane.
Before you go, you've got to take a few days on the beach in Tel Aviv. At least then your trip won't be a waste.
How could it be wasted when I got to play Cupid?
Thanks, Pop. We'll name the first after you.
You know, Mrs. Bergman, if I've never told you this before, you're a pretty good driver.
You're a pretty good passenger.
Well, it's nice to be good at something.
There's been a car ramming on the road up ahead of us. A suicide bomber has crashed into a line of vehicles and exploded his.
Zaka volunteers are on the way.
What's Zaka?
They're the religious who pick up body parts of the victims so they can have a proper funeral, and they also pick up the bomber's remains.
So what do you say to that, Mrs. Bergman?
One right doesn't make up for all the wrongs.
Oh, boy. Never want to get on the wrong side of you, that's for sure.
Is there a detour we can take?
This is the only road, I'm afraid.
Welcome to the Dead Sea, the lowest point on Earth.
But for me at this moment, it's the highest. Because I'm so thankful to be alive. To feel alive at the Dead Sea. How ironic is that?
Is Boychik okay?
Seeing the smoking wreckage really bummed him out.
You have to get used to the way things are in this country, or it's not possible to live here.
Sure.
Is that why you left, Mr. Dorfman?
No, I left because there were too many young girls who reminded me of Hannah.
So where did you go?
I went to Montana, USA, where the cowboys were. I wanted to wear the big Stetson hats and shoot the bad guys, but Wild West wasn't wild anymore. So after taking a quick look at America, I ended up in a small town in New Jersey, right across the river from New York City.
There were no reminders of her there.
Oh, no. Reminders of her everywhere. In the end, what could I do? I mean, I had to live a life.
So what line of work did you pursue?
I became a police officer in New York City. They didn't wear the big white hats, but they did go after the bad guys.
Shoot anybody?
I only fired my gun at the range, never out in the streets in anger.
His mouth was his weapon of choice.
That was a good one, Mrs. Bergman. Very good.
So, tell me, being a police officer, did it help?
Help what?
Help was what needed help.
Oh, boy. Maybe I'm not going there. I mean, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. I don't share that with anyone. That's my private hell, okay? And no more wild goose chases, huh?
I feel like I just witnessed a therapy session.
You did.
You okay?
You know, the crazy thing is, if we would have left the lot a few minutes earlier, the Zaka guys would have been picking up our body parts.
Then we never would have been able to know who'd be the first to fall asleep. We should, book a room, find out.
Now?
Yeah. I know. What, you think we should book in advance to make love?
You know, everything I heard about the Israeli women, I know now is true.
Anat, are you gonna be okay?
Of course. I've got the world-famous NYPD to protect me.
Well, if you'll excuse us.
What do you want from me, lady?
You need to go to the Galilee to see if she's still alive. You owe it to yourself and to Hannah. And there's something else. You have to be ready if you find her. You have to be the boy you used to be.
Thank you, Dr. Freud. You know, if I find Hannah, I will make love to her all night, and then I'll be the boy I used to be, okay?
Is that what men dream of?
No, we only talk about it to prove that we're men. We dream the same things women do.
What's that?
We dream of having the person we love lie next to us when we sleep. Okay, let's go to the Galilee in the morning, huh? And then I'll see what a lucky guy I really am.
You want I should text the kids to give them the good news?
I don't know, I'm sure they got better things to do.
Yeah, well, you can be sure that's actually what they're doing right now. Does that make you jealous?
Oh, of course. Is there a better way to spend an afternoon?
Are you trying to entrap me, officer?
Just doing my job, man.
You must have been so handsome in your blue uniform.
No. I only work at funerals. I was a plainclothes detective.
I'll bet you were a tough one.
Yeah, but I had a heart.
Ah, tough guy with a heart. It's an unbeatable combination. You're nervous about tomorrow?
Meeting Hana number 3, yes.
I just finished a book. One of those books you should have stopped reading years ago. In Treblinka, a young woman who was having her hair cut off before going to the gas said to the barber, "I don't fear death. What I fear is that after I'm gone, no one will know that I ever existed."
If I knew her name, I'd say it out loud every day for the rest of my life.
One day you should write about your time in the camps.
Why will I then be forgiven?
You'll have to ask the Almighty.
The Almighty doesn't even know I exist.
Then I'm afraid you're gonna have to forgive yourself.
That's not possible until one day hell should freeze over.
Anything's possible here. This is a land of miracles, of burning bushes and parting waters. Our very existence is a miracle. You should prepare for it by purchasing a nice warm jacket. You see, our humor can be funny.
No, that's not what I was laughing at, Mrs. Bergman. I was laughing at you for thinking that the impossible could be possible.
Making the impossible possible is how we've survived, Mr. Dorfman.
It must be lonely up there
Where?
on your soapbox.
Come join me. See for yourself.
Is there room?
For you, Mr. Dorfman, I'd be happy to make room.
All this empty space, look at it. You wonder why they fight so much for the land when it just sits here, empty.
Wonder how it's possible that two neighbors can live next to each other, side by side, and they are completely invisible to one another.
In Hebrew, Mrs. Bergman, there's a word for one-track mind.
Driving through the Palestinian territories is an out-of-world experience. Their deepest yearnings are not visible to the naked eye. You see what's up ahead? We call it Lake Kinneret, but for the rest of the world, it's the Sea of Galilee.
Just the sight of it makes you want to try to walk on it. Look what the kids are missing, huh?
They can have their honeymoon here, get their feet wet.
Well, you have them married just like that, huh?
For some people, that's what it's like.
Is that what it was like for you and your husband?
Well, it was easier to take in foster children and get all the necessary permits if you pretended you were married. So I took my mother's maiden name.
Well, if I was still a cop, I could bust you for false impersonation, ma'am.
I thought you had such a heart.
I do, but keep it between us. Shh, that's my secret. When we tell him we were in Nazareth, boy chick will eat his heart out. So, when do you think the kids are going to come up for air?
Who knows? They may not surface for days, even weeks.
You know, when you're young and in love, you want that pleasure to never stop, to go on forever. Funny, though, you notice how nobody ever says old and in love?
Because it's not funny.
Oh, it's funny if you're old and in love and you have to get undressed in front of each other.
You're about to see something, Mr. Dorfman, that may blow your mind.
Wow, who needed to go to Montana? You know, if I were a painter, I'd come to the Galilee to paint.
Now, if there had never been a Holocaust and you had remained in Poland, What do you think you would have become?
Maybe a rabbi like my father. Does that surprise you?
If you were the Messiah himself, who we waited for thousands of years, I would not be in the least surprised.
Back then, his presence was always with me. I'd sit in the synagogue and I'd feel the warmth of his embrace while I watched my father conduct the Shabbat service.
I always looked forward to the end of the service when they brought out the fresh-baked bread. I could still taste the challah in my mouth.
Our little shtetl, it was a place like nowhere else on earth. You know, Mrs. Bergman, in our lifetime, a whole world, all that it held dear, has just completely vanished from the face of the earth forever.
It's hard to imagine how many 6 million are.
If you filled every football stadium in America on a Sunday to capacity, it'd still only be a third of those who were murdered.
I need to go to the restroom.
Well, have a good rest.
You know, we are not alone in our grief. Our friends and neighbors have their own. When our state was born, their whole world was thrown upside down. It's very hard for us Israelis to even have that conversation.
Some things are hard to talk about, yeah.
Is that why it's so hard for you to speak of what you've endured?
There are no words.
Is that how you baptized your son?
Yes, but with not as much water. The priest just takes a little bit of water, sprinkles it on his forehead, and that's it. Seeing the joy in their faces, I can't help but think about the first time I met Hannah. There she was. She was riding her bicycle down the street, and she almost ran me over.
Was it meet cute like in the movies?
Yeah. And you, Mrs. Bergman, did you ever meet cute someone?
I did.
Did you end up falling in love with them?
We both thought we had invented the word.
How was it?
How was what?
Well, the lovemaking, I mean, was it good? Did it go on all night?
Mr. Dorfman, a proper lady doesn't talk about that.
Well, no, just wink once if it was good.
You are a naughty boy. And I thought you were the one of the sweet kisses.
I was just having fun with you.
I know. But you're not exactly an open book. There's a forbidden chapter that I'm waiting to read.
I never wrote it. I never will.
Mr. Dorfman, we teach the children never to say never.
Well, it's too late to teach me anything new. I'm an old dog.
Wow, wow, wow. Up ahead, Mr. Dorfman, our answer to the Grand Canyon. It's from Ziva.
Yeah, how they doing?
She sent me a joke. Your son is half Jewish.
What's so funny about that?
It may not be funny, but now she knows which half.
That's funny. So she lives in a kibbutz, huh? A community where everyone shares everything. Frankly, that's not for me. I like my old toothbrush. But I must say, the boys from places like this, among our best fighters.
Why is it that everything in this country is measured by military comparison?
I suppose you'd want them measured by how many times they rode home to their mothers?
How about how many words they can speak in Arabic?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh, here we are, the house of Hannah 3. Lucky 3.
No. 7's the one that's lucky.
Yeah, I'm putting my money on 3.
Only if there's a miracle.
So we're not in the right place?
It's open. I'm out back. I'm terrified to turn around.
Then don't. Until you feel like it.
You thought I was dead.
Everyone in your transport went to the gas.
Not everyone. I was plucked from the angel of death. The commandant of the camp had a daughter. She wanted a playmate. After the war, I came to this land. I thought you would find me.
I searched for almost a year and before going to America, but even there, I kept in touch with those who were searching for refugees.
I waited all my life for you, Isaac. I never married or knew another. I waited to have the life we dreamed of. I never doubted you would find me, and now you have. And we can have our life. Come and hold me. Oh, it feels so good. Like I knew it would. It was worth waiting for.
Are you my Hannah? Do you remember something? Anything from Shakespeare?
Enough. I am Hannah Cohen, but not your Hannah Cohen. When Ziva spoke to me, I wanted to tell her I was not the one, because I witnessed the death of my dearest one during the selection when he refused to leave my side. But I wanted to experience the sublime joy of what it would feel like to have my lover's arms around me again. Besides being the playmate for his daughter, I was a playmate for him.
Never been ashamed. We had to survive.
Yes, we had to survive. No matter what we had to do.
No matter what. No matter what.
You're a good man, Isaac. May the Holy One who watches over us grant you what you seek. Never give up looking. She waits for you, boychik.
Boychik.
You're still a boy, Isaac. With the sweetest of kisses.
You haven't opened your mouth since we left the kibbutz. Not even to say what a remarkable woman she was.
Yeah, she was. They're all remarkable.
So?
She had her back to me, and for a moment I was sure I had found her. Didn't make me feel like I thought it would, no.
Maybe you were just preparing yourself in case it wasn't her.
Maybe there never was a Hannah. Maybe there was just a young boy's fantasy. I don't know, a reason to stay alive.
Maybe you were just reacting to the wild goose chase having come to an end.
I told you what I felt. I guess you just don't want to believe it. I knew it was a mistake to come to this country.
So now you're blaming your
Well,
son?
he's the one who dragged me here before his mother was even cold in the ground. I knew that if I came here, I'd find out the truth, and I wasn't ready for that. He should have just let me be. When I see him, I'm going to tell him.
Well, you better get ready now, because there he is. I told Ziva where to meet us, and Uber did the rest. Good luck.
Hey, I just spoke to Annette. What's the problem, Pop?
This trip is bullshit. You're the one that wanted this adventure, and maybe you're the one that's searching for something, huh?
That's what you think.
Hannah Cohen's dead. She was gassed the minute she got off the train at Auschwitz. Now, those are the facts, and the facts don't lie. So why the hell did you have to bring me here and give me false hope? I should have kept my big mouth shut on that camping trip.
But you didn't. I never forgot it. I knew how unhappy you were, and I wanted to try and do something.
I know. Children always know everything that goes on around them, so forgive me for what just came out of my mouth.
No, Pop. You're the one who's gonna have to forgive me.
What are you talking about?
I did something really bad.
What?
When I was 7 years old, you received a letter from the Red Cross. They said, "We're writing to you to inform you that someone is looking for you. Someone who claimed she was your girlfriend when you were in Paris. She lives in Israel now and wants to hear from you."
It was... Hannah was alive. It was Hannah.
The person looking for you was Hannah Cohen. All I knew was my pop would go far away and never come back, and my mom would never stop crying.
So you destroyed the letter?
I tore it up into little pieces and flushed it down the toilet.
Pop! What did you do that for?
Pop. Pop. I'm sorry, Pop. I'm sorry.
I know. It's okay. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Pop.
It's okay, boy chick. I know you wanted to keep your family together.
I did a terrible thing. And to make amends, I wanted to bring you here to find her.
Look, what's done is done. I mean, we've got to get over this. At least she had a life. I hope it was a good one. She deserved it.
So did you, Pop. Can you ever forgive me?
Of course. It was most brave of you, boy, to give up your secret. And to know that she was alive. She reached these shores. That closes the hole in my heart. How is he?
They went into the church. He'll be better soon.
Confession. Dear ends of the chicken soup.
He told us about the letter and that you've forgiven him. You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
You know Charlie Brown?
The whole world knows of him. He's a little mensch. And you're a big one.
Come on, let's see how the kids are doing. If you have anything to confess, now's your chance.
And we'll be here for days.
The priest who took my confession had the most comforting voice.
The power of confession should never be underestimated. It's a direct pipeline to the Almighty himself.
Speaking of the Almighty, did you happen to bump into him when you were in his house?
I think I must be invisible to him.
Of all the things you are, Mr. Dorfman, you are not invisible. You're a force of nature.
You mean like an earthquake? Tsunami?
More like a sunset, gentle rain.
Mrs. Bergman, I feel naked in front of you.
Do you know what a conversation stopper is?
I didn't know I just said that. You know, I think I should take a good look around here and see what I'm soon going to be missing.
Not so fast, Pop. Ziva, is there a database you could have missed?
Why not? I'm only human.
Hannah's no longer alive. Otherwise, she would have tried to reach out to me again. Come on.
Not if she believed you were in love with someone else. Now just give it a little more time, Pop. Let's see what Ziva comes up with, okay?
I'm gonna make myself like a busy little bee.
Okay. I'll give it a few more days to find what I'm sure is never to be found.
By the way, Mr. Dorfman, I have a nice surprise for you.
Oh.
We're going to be passing by a place that should be the highlight of your whole trip to Israel, a special experience.
Mrs. Bergman, you just got my attention big time.
It was in Masada that 2,000 years ago, 900 men, women, and children stood up against the mighty Roman Empire. And in the end, they took their own lives rather than become Roman slaves.
To be able to defend yourselves, that's a great privilege. You know, in the camps, when some of the prisoners did raise a fist, it brought cruel reprisals against all the others.
It must have been difficult for you. A tough guy with a heart.
See, not such a winning combination. Mrs. Bergman, you're so right. That is something special. How can you just look at this? So you'd rather be at Disneyland, huh?
I can feel his presence, the creator of all this.
The last time I was here, I was completing my military training. We sang the national anthem that speaks of our hope of becoming a free nation in its own land, and sensitive to the hopes of the others who live among us.
And I'm sure that the others are hoping that it won't be another 2,000 years before we accept the fact that we share this land with them. You're not going to say something clever?
I'm afraid I'm all clever now.
I think I'm wearing you down, Mr. Dorfman. You know, when you arrived in this country, you had on rose-colored glasses, but I think you're seeing more clearly now without them.
I'm still wearing those glasses, but every once in a while I take a little peek over them to see if I'm missing anything.
Is it my imagination? Or are you beginning to be a little sweeter?
Well, even grumpy old men have their good days.
I was just kidding. You've always been sweet as honey.
In a grumpy sort of way.
It still bothers you not to be able to fight back.
Do you have a strong stomach, Mrs. Bergman?
It all depends on how gut-wrenching you intend to be.
When the war was coming to an end and the Russians were near our camp, our SS guards tried to run away. And after years of enduring their cruelty, we had our chance to even the score, and we did. With our bare hands, we took the life right out of them. You know, strangling a man to death is a slow and painful process. You know, you see a man fight to stay alive, and as you force the breath out of him, you force something out of yourself as well. Something you can never get back. And after it was over, we cried for what we had done, for the nightmare we'd been through. I was just 17. I felt as old as Methuselah, with 900 years.
I wish I could offer you absolution.
And my son's lucky. He walks into a little booth, speaks to a comforting voice, and poof, he's as good as new.
The religious, they use a goat. They cast their sins onto the head of a goat. Out into the wilderness they send it so they too can feel as good as new.
It shows you the kind of mixed up Jew I am. Who knew from goats? I mean, I sent myself into the wilderness.
You belong here, Mr. Dorfman. You have definitely mastered our humor.
You can always use a chicken. If you can't find a goat, you can use a chicken, and you can cast your sins out on the chicken and wave it around your head.
Did I wake you, Pop?
I must have dozed off. I was waiting up for you. I was having a nice dream, though. There I was, basking in the warm Italian sun, tasting the fruit of the vine and checking out the local talent.
What were you doing in Italy?
Waiting for a ship to take me here so I could search for Hannah. I was with a group of survivors who banded together for safety. Because there were still a lot of those people who thought that Hitler hadn't finished the job.
It's tough being a Jew, isn't it?
So what's easy? You know, if the early Christians would have all become part of the club if they agreed to do one thing.
Get circumcised.
How slicing off a piece of your dick got to symbolize our love and devotion to the Almighty is one of the greatest mysteries of the universe. Come on.
I want you to be the first to know. We set a date.
Mazel tov. You picked yourself a real winner, boy jerk.
Ah, thanks, Pop. I don't know what I'm gonna do here, but it's gonna be something worthwhile.
Yeah, well, whatever you do, just be sure you duck when she starts waving that chicken around.
You know how much I love you?
Higher than the birds fly.
Even higher.
Higher than the angels.
You don't believe in angels.
Yeah, but you do. And I believe in you.
It's time for me to give you a hug.
I'm not even going to ask what you're doing there.
But I won't tell you that I just changed the oil.
You don't trust gas stations, huh?
Just one of my quirks. I see someone else who can't sleep.
Oh, no. I came out for a smoke.
I didn't know you did.
I don't, but it's a great excuse if someone asks you why you're up all night and you don't want to go into a long explanation. What's keeping you up?
I'm just trying to clear my head. I'm afraid this evening you filled it with some pretty graphic images.
Should have kept my big mouth shut.
Still bothers you.
Whoa. Other things bother me. You know, you really should get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. It's your annual fundraiser. I know it's always tough begging for money.
No, who begs? I just ask for them to donate, and the way I do it seems to work.
You know, at times you can be intimidating.
Surely not to you.
Even Samson, with all his strength, was undone by a woman. That's why I never grew my hair long.
You have the same sense of humor as my father.
Yeah.
He could make a cloudy day sunny. Until the day came that he couldn't.
May he be of blessed memory.
If he were here now, he would give me a goodnight kiss, and I'd fall asleep immediately.
I'm not your father. Hopefully you'll be able to sleep now. I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Oh, schmuck.
What are you doing, Pop? Is that your taxi outside?
I can't stay here any longer.
Oh, you said you give Ziva
I gotta
more
go.
time. No, she's getting the names from the records right now as we speak.
She'll find nothing.
I shouldn't have torn up that letter.
Even if you hadn't torn it up. Don't you understand? I couldn't have left your mother. I wouldn't want to hurt her in any way. Look, I owed her my life.
You would have written to Hannah. Slowly but surely, you would have broken ties with Ma. That's what people do when they're in love. I know, Pop, that's how I feel about Ziva, and you were right. I was searching for something. Who knew it'd be for a whole new life, huh?
I feel so happy for you. I gotta tell you something, though, just before I burst. I've developed feelings of Mrs. Bergman. Deep feelings. Feelings deeper than anything I could have ever imagined feeling again.
You gotta stay, right? And you tell her, Pop, you gotta tell her this.
No, I mean, how can I?
You tell her, just tell her.
I can't.
Pop.
I feel the shame that's gonna be with me forever. I came here to find the woman I love. What'd I do? I fell in love with someone else. I fell in love with someone else. No, I disgraced her memory.
No, Pop.
I disgraced her memory and I disgraced myself. I should have left. I should have left the minute I felt those feelings within me. I should have left.
When was that, Pop?
When she looked at me, but those twinkling eyes of hers and said, "Welcome, the one and only Isaac Dorfman from America."
When am I gonna see you again, huh?
Who knows? I mean, And I'm already living it over time.
It's not a sin to love someone.
At least you have a deed if it stays in touch with you.
I don't want you to end up alone. Just you and your Starbucks thinking about what might have been.
Oh, you don't fight fair, Blashik. You don't fight fair. What's your name?
Avi.
Avi, I'm Isaac. So let me ask you, you order an Uber and a taxi shows up?
In Israel, that's how Uber operates. It's a taxi hailing service.
It figures. What do you expect from a country where they read from right to left?
So you're going to Ben Gurion? What time's your flight?
Late in the afternoon.
You want to sit and wait at the airport all day?
You know of a Starbucks, you can drive me there.
Oh, there's one in Beirut, but we probably get killed crossing into Lebanon and you'd miss your flight.
Did they teach that in school? Israeli humor?
Can't teach that in school. You have to live the life here. There's so much tragedy that after a time it becomes a joke. So you've seen everything worth seeing on your visit?
I haven't been to the wall. No.
You haven't been to the holiest site in Israel. Okay, it's on me. We're going to Jerusalem. We're going to the wall, and all your prayers will be answered.
I'm afraid that the Almighty has a deaf ear as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry to hear that. But we should go even if you don't pray. I'll make a special prayer for the both of us, that one day in the not-too-distant future we can drive to Beirut for a cup of coffee, not just have it be the punchline for a bad joke.
Amen, Avi. Amen.
ולצרות שנוכל לנסוע לביירות ביום שישי אחרי הצהריים לשבת על קפה בסטארבקס.
You found something?
An old Army pay record listed Hannah Cohen as a new recruit. And the good news is she checks off every box, including having a password from Romeo and Juliet.
Where do we meet? Ziva, slow down. Will you slow down?
She's on a really tight schedule. We have to get there at the appointed time, or it could be weeks until she's free again.
At her age, she's so busy, huh?
You seen this before?
Yeah, only on TV.
Ever since the wall went up, those on the other side face enormous difficulties on a daily basis. But on our side, the violence has greatly decreased, so it remains a moral dilemma for many of us.
And Mrs. Bergman, where does she stand?
You should ask her.
Not on your life. Ziva, a little birdie told me that a proposal has been made and accepted.
He told you? He has such a big mouth. I only wish my parents were still alive to see this day.
Oh, may they be a blessed memory.
I'd be a memory too if I had gone with them for pizza. A suicide bomber detonated his explosive vest and killed everybody in the entire restaurant.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Ziva. I'm so sorry, really.
Thanks.
You know, no one can ever replace a father, but it'd be my honor to give you away at your wedding.
You do that?
Of course. May your firstborn be a healthy boy or girl. Or transgender.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dorfman. Thank you for coming to Israel and for who you brought with you. You know, Ryan is really lucky to have you for a father. You give him exactly what he needs.
Whatever gets me through the night.
What gets you through the night, Mr. Dorfman?
I've never gotten through the night.
You know, Ryan told me about you in a knot.
And he's got a big mouth, you're right.
What if it's her in there? Hannah.
I'll give her such a big hug, they'll have to call the paramedics.
When are you going to tell her about a knot, before the hug or after? You should go. That's your signal.
Parting is such sweet sorrow that I should say good night until it be morrow. It was a foolish hope.
No. Hope is never foolish.
Those were the last words spoken by my love as they dragged him off the train. I knew there would be no meeting in the morrow. But thank you. Thank you very much for giving me a few hours of joyous anticipation.
No, for us both. For us both.
I'm sure we have much in common. Right with me. I have to be somewhere urgently, and a handsome man is always good company. Ziva can follow in her car. The truth is, I haven't known a man in more years than I can remember.
Do you miss it?
The man I miss, not the it.
So where you headed?
I deliver medical supplies to a village in Syria. It's illegal and dangerous. Our people try to protect us, and if they can't, well, nobody lives forever. You know, I lied before. I miss it like crazy. Oy vey.
You just take care of yourself, huh?
Don't be concerned. I've made this journey many times before. It's as smooth as a baby's bottom.
Yeah, until it's not. Yeah, hand me your cell, huh? Yeah, I want you to text me when you're back safely. Just send me a smiley face.
I hope you find your Juliet, Isaac.
She'll be okay. She knows how to play the game.
Yeah, some game.
I heard from Anat. She and Ryan are waiting for us at McDonald's.
McDonald's they have it, not Starbucks, huh? So go figure.
Mr. Dorfman, where do you think you're going? Mr. Dorfman, get in here.
I want to be helpful.
No,
I wanna be useful.
no, you're only gonna get in the way and put her in danger. The boys with her are more than capable.
Not so long ago, nothing you could have said would have stopped me. Now, I'm afraid that my tough guy days are over.
Once a tough guy, always a tough guy.
Sweet Ziva.
Okay.
Now we can breathe again.
Hey there.
Boychi's gonna be pissed.
He knows I'm pissed. He knows. Went to Syria?
No, you got it wrong. I looked into Syria.
So? You still leaving or what?
Nothing's changed the last time we talked, except I'm older.
Mr. Dorfman, do you want us to bring you back something?
Just yourself. I'll always think of you in front of the Golden Arches.
So you're running away?
No, I'm not running away. I'm just going home.
No, this is your home, Mr. Dorfman. 2,000 years of history makes this your home, and you put a down payment on it when you fought for our very existence. And now we have a bigger fight to get even better. If you stay, Ryan and Ziva will give you grandchildren, which will give you a purpose in life you have never known existed.
You paint such a rosy picture, Mrs. Bergman.
If you stay, you can paint with us.
I can come back in the future.
Now is the future for us.
Life has been unfair to us, Mrs. Bergman.
What are you trying to say?
It'd be a pity for me to leave without you saying my name.
It's
The way you say it is how I wished I'd never changed it when I got off the boat in New York.
If you stay, you can hear it night and day.
If I heard it each morning, that would be more than enough.
Do you know, between Mrs. and Bergman, there is a name.
No.
It's like a prayer when you say it.
Maybe not a prayer, but at least a hope that we should one day meet again.
You have a plane to catch.
I can take Uber.
No, you could take a rocket to Mars, but I'm not going to let you do either.
Look what I got
What?
for the plane.
What is that?
They don't have it in the States. It is a mik kebab with special spices.
Ziva, I will eat this very slowly and think how you spiced up my life.
Don't forget your promise. You're coming in for the wedding.
I hate to break a promise, Ziva, but I think that under the circumstances, it would be best if I was with you only in spirit.
No, that's okay, Pop. It's okay. We'll be together on Skype. We'll fix you up with an account.
I'm gonna expect a new joke every single morning to start the day.
Funny or Israeli?
You still owe me something, Mr. Dorfman.
You ready? Hold that.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Okay. God.
I don't know what's going to be like without a hug from you every day, Pop. See ya.
See ya.
I'll see you.
Whatever else, you did one thing right.
You know, I think I'll grab an Uber and save you a trip. Huh?
Is there a word in English that means one-track mind?
So I leave with one burning question. Why McDonald's and not Starbucks?
We used to have one.
And?
Who knows? There was a fight between the partners and cooler heads didn't prevail. In your town in New Jersey, did you have many Starbucks?
No, we only had one, but we had a secret ingredient. The baristas, Heather and Mike, used to sprinkle in a little love.
Mr. Dorfman, you should never change.
Now, how can I? I'm an original. So, after suckering me in with a free ride, it's obvious to me that you've got something on your mind.
I see you're wise to the ways of womanhood.
Well, maybe not so much to womanhood, but to one woman in particular.
I know detectives are supposed to ask all the questions, but I have one that I've been waiting patiently to ask. What happened in Auschwitz, Mr. Dorfman?
I have the right to remain silent.
Only the dead have that right.
I was assigned to commando. Our job was to remove the bodies from the gas chamber, take them to the ovens. We'd wait outside. And we could hear those inside. They were begging, screaming to be saved. We couldn't do anything. The power of life or death wasn't granted to us. But the worst day of my life was the day that should have been my bar mitzvah. I had to remove my mother, Sarah, and my father, Carl, from the gas chamber. And I had to burn them in an open pit because the crematoria had a waiting list. On that day, instead of becoming a man, I became a monster.
You had no choice.
No, I had a choice. I could have chosen death.
So why didn't you?
I had to stay alive.
For Hannah.
To bear witness that what happened, happened. And yes, I had to stay alive for Hannah.
After the war, you managed to come back here. But in less than a year, you left. Why didn't you stay longer?
The evidence that she had perished, that was overwhelming. I mean, I had to leave. I mean, those who were forced to do what I did, we were hated. They wanted to kill us.
The hatred that was against you is no more. The new generation just asks the question, why did our people not fight back? Except in a few places, they just went like sheep to the slaughter.
They were brought up from birth to be a people of the book, to study the Torah and its teachings, and to depend on the Almighty to protect them. And there's something else you should know. Hannah and I went into a synagogue and we married ourselves. Of course, it wasn't legal, we were children, but the vows that we swore in the Torah, they were binding on us forever.
So, you and Ryan's mother were not legally married?
No, we were not. I told her about Hannah and how I was bound to another. She understood. Tell me what it says.
It says nothing. It's a smiley face.
It's been a long day. I won't even mention what I have a thirst for.
I know a place not far from here. It may not be a Starbucks, but it'll be good for what ails us. So?
So not bad, except one thing. I think I taste herring in it.
Herring in your coffee?
Yeah, but I like herring, so why complain?
Oh, when you go back to America and they start speaking against us, what will you say?
Well, I'll tell them about a lady I met in Tel Aviv who's waiting to take to the streets to dance arm in arm together again. And she's not alone. You know, we should go now. I tell you to allow extra time for security.
We should say goodbye now.
Goodbye, Mrs. Bergman.
You are a world-class hugger, and you hug here and there. And I, for one, have never benefited from your generosity.
You know, after our liberation, we kept hugging each other until we had no more strength left. Made us feel human again. I've never gotten over that feeling.
There's something I should tell you. I went there last year, that place of death. And as I stood on the Polish soil, something came over me. That rage that I had contained for all those years began to dissipate. I don't know why. Maybe that's just how we're made.
I should tell you something, too. I find myself in need of a warm jacket.
Hell is frozen over, is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is, I've forgiven myself.
Good.
Good. That's it. I mean, that's all you can say? Good?
You want I should make you a parade in your honor?
I will miss you, Mrs. Bergman.
I will miss you, Mr. Dorfman.
We should give thanks for every minute we're alive.
I'll always be grateful to the French railway worker who took me off the train.
Train? What train?
The train to Auschwitz. My train stopped at his station, and for some reason he could never explain, he took me off the train and brought me to the safety and warmth of his home and family.
And the name?
What name?
The name that was registered on the manifest with the transport. Mrs. Bergman, tell me, what name was written there?
The name of a young girl who couldn't stop thinking about the boy she'd left behind and wondering if they'd ever be together again in this life. But soft. What light through yonder window breaks?
It is the heat. And Juliet is the sun. Oh, my God. Hannah. Oh, my Hannah. Hannah, 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 Hannah. What? I'm so confused. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you tell me about...
I wanted to know if you could fall in love with an old lady.
Why wouldn't I? I'm an old man. You were the mastermind.
With a little help from your son and Ziva.
Oh, you have sneaky friends.
Who would have thought it could be so difficult to keep the truth from you for just a few days? To be so near and yet so far was more than a human being should have to endure. I'm still a girl, Yitzhak.
And I'm a boy again.